So here's the deal, Minecraft 1.21 is at a pivotal moment right now where it can decide if it wants to be another solid, good, but forgettable update, or if it wants to be something more revolutionary like Village and Pillage, Never Update, or Caves and Cliffs. Which of these pathways it goes down is of course entirely up to Mojang, but I've decided to look at what the community thinks that they would do to improve 1.21, and the most popular suggestion was to add a few more unique items to the trial dungeons and make dog armor stronger and more customizable. These are two of the flagship features of the update. One was voted on and one was the big thing that they announced, and right now they both leave a little bit lacking. I love the trial chambers, I think it's the best structure they've added in a while, but it could do with some unique draw to get you in there, and the dog armor could be made more customizable, perhaps by making a unique dog enchantment with stuff like protection and also allowing us to increase the damage the dogs do to make them more useful in combat. That is a fun idea. I would add that personally, the reason I'm not using dogs right now is not because of the fact that they don't have armor, but instead because of the fact that they go missing, they're not always useful in combat, they'll attack the wrong things, and in general, their AI just leaves a lot to be desired, something that Mojang could fix to make the dog armor itself more valuable. They'd also make the beds more valuable if they added the sleeping bag, which would allow you to sleep while traveling, but without resetting your spawn. Right now, when your spawn is reset all the way, i.e. your bed is found to be broken, as you might do when you're moving it from place to place, this causes a big problem because you go all the way back to the world origin, the world spawn. This is something they could fix by having a sleeping bag, the ability to sleep, but without a permanent spawn set. This means that you could go exploring, as Mojang is encouraging us to do, especially in 1.21 with a brand new structure, and as they've been doing for the last few updates with their new biomes and structures, this would be really good, in my opinion. I like this idea a lot, almost as much as I like the idea of adding the combat snapshots into 1.21. Right now, the combat system is so different between Java and Bedrock, they're talking about parity all of the time, potentially even removing a major feature from the Java edition just because it doesn't work on Bedrock, but yet they won't add some very important Java features to Bedrock. What if they could do that? Although, I would say the tweak that Hambas6310 suggests of making it so potion stacks only to 4 isn't a very good idea. Minecraft having items that stack up to 16 is already confusing to me. Why do ender pearls and eggs go to 16, but you can have 64 IF enders? Tell me that these numbers make sense, and I'll tell you that you're lying to me, but I also do think that even if you have concerns about potions stacking too high, all you have to do is make each individual potion weaker and encourage people to drink more of them to get the same effect. I think that could be pretty darn good, but I also think that you could combine that together with the trial chambers to make it so instead of just having combat trial chambers like we have right now, they'd have tutorials for other mechanics to help players learn them without looking them up. Bear in mind that Minecraft is a very obtuse game to learn if you're just playing it, and so what if there were trial chambers that could teach you about brewing? That could be really fun and could be a great introduction to stacked potions for many people. I also think that many people look at 1.21 and see an update that could have been as big as previous ones, and this comment puts it pretty well. I think they need to make big updates again, also bring back the biome vote. People are better at voting for a group of features than one specific update in the form of a mob. I don't know if this is true. Would the armadillo and the dog armor have been so much better if we had other features alongside them? Well, yeah, I mean, if that would have softened the blow, but I also think that voting on one feature means that it's at least a fairer vote. Everyone voting knew that they were getting either an armadillo with its wolf armor or a crab and its crab claw, whereas when you add more and more features to the mix, it gets messier because you might really like one feature and really dislike another, and do you think that's fair voting? Well, I guess that's how regular democracy works. Speaking of regular democracy, I hope we get some more exciting features next year. I feel like 1.21 is going to be an update to be hyped for since it's Minecraft's 15th anniversary next year, and this got me looking through the Minecraft PR. I was recently trying to recover my Minecraft account, and while I did that, I found this thing that they actually put out talking about the 15th anniversary celebration, and although you might not recall it, in the event itself, they did mention that the 15th anniversary was going to be fun, but the specific wording they used was that Lydia Winters announced 2024 as Minecraft's 15th anniversary celebration and teased exciting plans for the year to come. And although some of these plans will be outside of Minecraft, I have to imagine there are going to be some internal Minecraft things, even at bare minimum just a brand new server, a brand new cape maybe, and that sort of stuff. I think there is going to be something big and something exciting, and hopefully it ties into 1.21, which answers the next question: when is 1.21 releasing? If you want to know when you can get your hands on this update, it will be coming out obviously in 2024, this year. Wow, it's coming out literally very soon, but specifically it tends to come out over the summer period. June is the most likely month. However, given that May is Minecraft's 15th year anniversary, maybe that's when 1.21 will release. That is the most likely theory, but we'll have to wait and see closer to the time. time. Speaking of closer to the time, we have Crash Gaming 2694 saying shrinking and growing potions should be introduced. Maybe the crab will be added in 1.21 and the armadillo in 1.20.5 for Mojang to help with the stupid mob vote controversy. I think this is actually a really good idea, that the current effects that Minecraft has added, which are only via commands, would be really, really fun to have potions to do that. If people really like the crab claw only because it would allow you to reach further, what if they made a further reach potion which you could make using the armadillo scute? It doesn't make any sense, sure, but what sense does it make that a ghast tier is used for regeneration potion? Potions are semi-arbitrary, and so they could use the armadillo as the best of both worlds, the thing most people love about the crab claw, while still introducing the best mob. That would be a great way to certainly make 80% of players happy. Sorry for Penguin voters, you'll never be happy. Just like how people like James Weston will never be happy until we get a frying table for deep fried chickens and french fries, also frying ground beef for tacos. In case you haven't been following my channel, one of the wild things that happened this year is that it actually leaked that a Mojang employee was working on a frying table, whether for a meme, whether it was a code name for something upcoming, or whether there is actually a frying table in 1.21, we still don't know, but I do have to say it's incredibly funny. By the way, I got so many comments asking for things like daggers that you could spam click with as a great solution to 1.8 combat versus 1.9 combat, and also the idea that Mojang should just update the combat system in 1.21. This seems to be overwhelmingly popular. I even made a tweet about this, and the very first response I got was someone saying, honestly, for me, the thing that determines this update being good or not is if Mojang implements more structure-related stuff, or if they actually try to add combat test features into the main game. They did all of this combat testing already, they spent the time, the man-hours, they made a good set of combat features. Will they actually come to Minecraft though? That is the question that we're excited to see the answers for. Who knows for sure how it will go. But yeah, that's mostly my community. You might say, wow, Toycat, this is very particularly focused on what your viewers think. Your viewers probably have some bias and are not a representative sample size, and this is true. As much as I like the community we have here, it is technically a small subsect of people who care about Minecraft facts and follow updates in a way that maybe the general public doesn't, so I figured I'd go on Minecraft's official feedback website itself to see what people think about 1.21 and how it could be improved. There is a voting system there, except they haven't updated the website since 1.20 came out, and so now all you can see is marketplace feedback and Minecraft update 1.20. I mean, we can still go through it and we can talk about the most upvoted feedback for 1.20, and maybe they could just add it in this update, like 1.20 jungle villagers, or Chinese paper lanterns, or chests of different woods, glowing armor trims, etc. But all of these posts are from 2022 and it's 2024. So I think if they didn't add these into last year's update, it's unlikely they'll be looking at these for this year, and instead that leads us to a very interesting point. If you want to see the wider community's feedback, you can go on Minecraft's official site, but they seemingly either don't care, or at least are giving off a very good illusion that they don't care, and so instead you go to an unofficial source that has actually been used by many Mojang developers for decent feedback, and that is the Minecraft Suggestions subreddit. Usually one of my favorite videos each year is going through not just the worst suggestions, but also the very best of that year, and this is one of the big videos I like to make, but you know what? It's a random Q&A Saturday, I can't do that right now. But what if I did it anyway? Let's go ahead and go through the best suggestions of 2023. These are the things that have been suggested since 1.20 was either mostly finished, or indeed since 1.20 has been officially released, which means we can actually get some real 1.21 feedback. And so we'll start at the very top here. Actually not, let's turn on the webcam first. There we go, much better. Anyway, hello, I'm ABX Toycat, and welcome to the best suggestions of the entirety of 2023. There are some wild ones that I already saw a peek at, such as Cherry Village and a sniffer skin and Steve playing some music, but I'm excited to share all of the 50 best with you, and indeed, hopefully someone at Mojang is taking note, because some of these are really darn good. Like the 50th best was allowing horse armors to be enchanted for exploration purposes, and this is an idea that immediately resonates with me. I think Frostwalker is the best example of this. If you could put Frostwalker on horse armor, it would make it less tedious to use boats when traveling with your horse by not using the boat. Oh. Hello. Sorry about that, it was an incredibly important call about a family member. But anyway, I think that horses should be able to use a Frostwalker enchantment so that you can take them across oceans. It would be fun, and it's not like Frostwalker is so easy to obtain. It would just be a great value if you could get it, just like how it might be great value if pillager captains should flee if they were the last one standing. This is a fairly simple idea, but it's actually pretty fun when you think about it, because right now pillagers spawn as a big brigade, and ultimately if you killed 3 of the brigade as quickly as you can sometimes, the last one should totally flee. I think in reality they might look at you and see how injured you look, but if you want to just have the tiniest bit of fun / realism / flavor to Minecraft, make it so the last pillager in a band will always flee, and sometimes that could make hunting down the captain feel a little bit more rewarding, or maybe even letting him go could be fun. But I think some fleeing should not just apply to cows on the Java edition, but maybe could apply to pillager captains as well. Also, chainmail armor should turn invisible with the player. I bet, without reading this by the way, that this is going to be about the fact that when you drink an invisibility potion, your armor doesn't go invisible, but instead we have, despite its rarity, chainmail armor is just a worse iron armor. Due to its lightness, this could be a nice gimmick. Possible nerf: if the wearer takes damage, the armor turns visible for 1 second or so. Oh, that's really fun actually, that's what I said, but way better. I like the idea that chainmail isn't visible because it's just so thin, unless you hit someone, in which case it temporarily becomes visible. That seems goofy, but I do think chainmail should have some benefit in the game, and if that's not going to be a faster speed, that should maybe come in the form of better invisibility. It's a small gimmick, but so too are leather boots, so too is gold armor, and so why can't this be as well? Next up we have, you should be able to place quartz crystals from the nether, similar to how you can do with amethyst, and this is also really smart. Just like cherry villagers, the 46th best idea, this is something which I have to look at least a little bit. This is what a cherry village could be. Oh, that's actually quite nice, isn't it? There are already the potentials of getting villagers in a cherry grove biome, but they won't properly spawn in there. They're just meadow villagers. Wouldn't it be great if there were cherry grove based villagers and villages? I think it would be, and I think when Minecraft adds a new biome, having these tiny bits of flavor could go a real long way to legitimizing it and making it a fun place. Just like a shrieker change for new players. Let's say you're a new player and you discover an ancient city with no clue of the dangers. You unknowingly set off a shrieker and you don't notice anything but pulsating darkness that came out of nowhere. You didn't hear the shriek because of the music and all the other sounds, so make it clear about the danger to make shriekers scary enough to your pants. Once a shrieker goes off, all mob sounds will be muffled and the music will stop completely. I like that actually quite a bit. I think shriekers should be so scary that music would go down in volume, because you should actually think, oh no, what happened, as opposed to right now where it's like, okay, whoops-a-daisy. By the way, next up here, we have the 44th suggestion is actually Minecraft suggestions, starting down for that weird Reddit change. Then we've got hanging signs should swing when hit by a projectile. Oh, this is really clever actually, or a player's head. I think this is a great idea. Just like, see, this is the example of something the community comes up with that I think is such a tiny, simple little change, but goes a long way if you were to see it in the game. Sometimes a lot of Mojang employees have much better ideas in aggregate than the community because they work on the game and they love it, but when you're so close to something, there are some tiny changes that you can't even see that you get slightly wrong, and that is a great example. By the way, here is a sniffer skin during snowfall, and I just love this thing too. I think this is a really great idea. Next up, we have diamond veins should be twice as rare, but twice as big. I think this person's probably complaining about the fact that they're finding diamond veins in caves. When you go caving for diamonds, you find them in really, really tiny quantities. I do agree in that sense that they should be twice as rare and twice as big, but I think otherwise, I think 3 diamonds is much more valuable than finding a half chance of 6 diamonds, because 3 diamonds lets you make a pickaxe, which gets you into the enchantment table game, and I just think it's a real good thing. Speaking of a real good thing, with archaeology being announced for 1.20, they should let you plant multiple types of one large pot to make unique foliage combinations. Not sure how that ties into archaeology. I think it's more of a sniffer feature, which, by the way, snow sniffer, way better sniffer feature, but still not a terrible one. Pink sheep should have a slight increased chance of spawning inside cherry groves. See, it's tiny flavor like this that you'd hear about and go, yeah, actually, that's pretty fun. There is so much pink dye in the place that it has a lore reason, it has a fun little gameplay sense, and I think Minecraft should have these tiny little cute details that don't necessarily affect the game too much, but could go a long way. Maybe I'm crazy, but I think if you add, just sprinkle a few of these on top, you could make an update go from being, oh, that's pretty cool, and maybe being forgotten about, to, oh yeah, that's a fun one, and I'm sure there are some examples of these that I'm forgetting, but it's still great. By the way, add mob vote losers, add woodland mansion statues. Oh, that is such a good one. Yeah, right now, there are woodland mansions which have wolf statues of the cats, chickens, and illagers, but wouldn't it be fun if you could come across a, for example, a crab or, for example, a penguin. I think having these in there would just, again, tiny Easter eggs that would go a long way with the hardcore fan base. Now we have armor trims. They should be usable in all horse armor. I've said that for a while, but I don't actually think most people want it that bad. You'd have to design a whole second set of trims, and who really needs to trim their horse? I like it, but I don't love it, you know? Not just single biome world selector, add a multi-biome selector, so you can make your world have multi-biome, but of your choice. It would be fun to see an entirely two-biomed world. After playing around with my world and seeing how messy it got when I switched to Java recently, it made me realize that this weird half-never half overworld combination actually could be fun if it was deliberate, and I wanted to set this up deliberately, but I only got this weird messed up world because of a world conversion issue. It'd be fun if you could do that, but for real. Unstackable items that don't have durability or unique properties should be stackable to 16 at least. So there are some violations they suggest, but beds, boats and chest boats, enchanted books, potions, and water bottles, minecarts, music discs, saddles, and cake should all just stack to 64. This is or at least to 16. This is really weird when you think about it. Why can you only stack beds to 1? It's like in the old days, if you don't know, fences used to only stack 1 at a time, and then it was deemed, wait a minute, that's ridiculous, why are we doing that? And so I like the idea that, yeah, actually, beds are the same situation. Same with boats. It's just, there's so many odd items that Minecraft decides you can't stack together. I think if enchanted books would stack, it would make so many things better. I think if potions would stack, it would make so many things better. Wow, we've come full circle. More things stacking is a good idea, not just for 1.21, but also for Minecraft in general. Next up, we've got a new use for phantom membranes, invisible item frames. Oh, I love that. Look at this crafting recipe too. Look at this thing. Oh man, that's clever. That's really, really clever. See, I think that would give a little bit of extra validation to the Phantom. Next up, we have bamboo flutes and snakes. This feels like a couple of unrelated ideas, but you've got to admit, Steve playing the bamboo flute is, it's hard to be against. I think the idea of snakes and bamboo flutes would make the jungles feel a bit more jungly, but also, this is a type, I always try to say, some features take a lot of development. This is a great example. Having a brand new type of snake or 2 types of snakes and 17 types of flute actually is a lot of effort. And so although this is a good idea that I would be down to see, I do think that this is a great example of not as easy to add as you might say, and maybe not even the perfect fit for this update. Minecraft is going to update jungles eventually. There are rumors that it's one of the next ones on the docket, so maybe, just maybe, that's what's happening here. Next up, we have the 31st best idea, because the 32nd is another protest post. We have idea for a grey wool set. Wait, so grey wool, but it's... Oh, grey wood set. That makes so much more sense. I was looking at it, I was like, why grey wool in particular? But grey wood would be a fun idea. I've been saying for a while that green wood is the missing gap in the Minecraft color scheme, but I could see grey being important as well. Next up, a clock on an item frame should be readable by a comparator and give a redstone signal depending on the time of day. Oh, that's smart. That's really clever. That is a great example of a redstone feature. Old growth oak forest. This could be a biome which looks like this. Oh, yeah, that's interesting, huh? Looks kind of like an old-timey oak forest. If Minecraft is looking for new biomes, that's one that looks like it fits perfectly into the game right now. Mojang, I am begging you, please let us turn stone/deep slate into cobble with the stone cutter. I do have to say, this is a very, 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 very real concern, because right now you go mining and you've got a silk touch pickaxe, which is the best type for 99% of things, and then oh no, you go down to the deep slate layer and whoops a daisy, now it's worthless. And maybe this is Mojang being clever. I do kind of like it, but it's so annoying picking up deep slate that is absolutely worthless in builds compared to cobble deep slate, which can be used to make not just polished deep slate and deep slate bricks and deep slate tiles, but then all the variants of those. It's insane how much better cobbled deep slate is than deep slate, so why is Silk Touch the bad enchantment in that way? Maybe that's what they're going for, but it feels like an oversight, and so I would love to know if it is or isn't. Next up, we have, could sniffers make luck potions possible in vanilla survival? Think about it, these sniffers could drop a plant, or you could just use their seeds, and it could make a new luck potion, because the sniffers, they get lucky when they're digging for those seeds, damn it. Speaking of getting lucky, I sure would be lucky if you could add sugar to concrete powder to prevent it from turning into concrete. That's actually kind of fun, because then you'd have a way to make sure that it stays. You know, like if someone accidentally gets it wet, it wouldn't turn into concrete. And so you'd be able to make more kind of sandy builds, because one of the big benefits of this, I imagine, is under the water, making more beautiful undersea oceans. It's kind of tricky right now. It's a big problem. So that could be fixed. Speaking of things that could be fixed, we're now on to the 25th best idea of 2023. What do you think it is? Because you'd be right if you guessed foxes should be able to spawn in the new cherry blossom biome. That's a fun idea. Petition to keep the boats going up slopes bug and implement it into the game officially. This is such a simple one in my opinion. Yeah, boats currently cannot go up any incline. If you want to, you have to use water in a really weird way and have a lead attached to it. It's so messy to get boats to just go up very slightly, and maybe that's meant to be a key downside of boats when compared to, say, minecarts. But I've seen the, you know, if you haven't seen the mod, one of my favorite mods ever is the blue ice boating. Seeing this right here as, you know, the guy's doing some absolute crazy stuff. It's the Freebird normally, but we have to cover that up for this video. But, like, just watching the guy as he's doing Freebird is so fun. And, yeah, the fact that that's not possible in vanilla Minecraft is a bit disappointing. Would be cool if it was. Yeah, it's such a simple idea. And I agree with you, AX Samurai. What a great idea. It seems like it should be easy to implement. Even if you make it a half slab at a time, that could be usable for something. Please, Mojang, please. Next up, we have save Minecraft dolphins from drowning. Dolphins should only need to breathe when their AI is active. This would prevent dolphins from drowning when their AI stops working when they're far away from the player. And, honestly, this is an annoying bug I've heard comes up for a lot of people. I haven't experienced it myself personally, but honestly, I don't care about dolphins, real life or Minecraft. So next up, we've got make it so secure petals can be placed on the water. So in Minecraft, I just confirmed you can't place them on top of water. It'd be cool if you could. Yeah, like how lily pads work. Great idea, honestly. The mineshaft dirt room should be an archaeology site. Well, I mean, if you think about it, everything in Minecraft is already an archaeology site. But with the dirt room in particular, it's like, yeah, I mean, you going in there could be fun and brushing the dirt. But also, I feel like everything in Minecraft already has this great lore element to it of you're trying to piece together the mystery. Archaeology works not just with the archaeology mechanic. A part of archaeology is just literally looking through stuff, and you don't have to make every archaeology style feature into archaeology the actual feature, in my opinion. Next up here, and we're officially in the top 20 now, by the way, we have falling sand that lands on top of an item should become a suspicious sand block with the item inside. I love this. It's such a small idea of being able to make your own suspicious sand that you could then use to make your own archaeological finds. I think that being able to make fun things in survival is a good idea. I also think suspicious sand is one of the weirdest blocks in the game for not even working when you place it in creative. It's a very, very odd block in terms of the rules that Minecraft follows. I don't hate it, I guess, though. Speaking of things I don't hate, Badlands being an exception to the height-dependent biome rule. Right now, they are the same height as every other piece of terrain, but it could be much nicer. Imagine if they looked like this, like they did before 1.18 again. Would be really nice, some people might say. You know, also some people might say that old signs in old worlds upgrading to 1.20 should become waxed automatically. Waxing signs is how you keep the, you know, the exact text there forever, and it's a really fun idea in my opinion. If you wax the sign, it means that all of these old messages from people in times past will be stuck in there in sand. You can always break the sign, you can always unwax it, but just the idea of making old signs pre-waxed is actually kind of fun. I don't know if this is a perfect idea. I think there are all sorts of issues of old world upgrading, and I think already there are all sorts of weird permutations you run into, but it'd be fun regardless. Also, mud should generate in patches like clay and sand and dirt inside oceans, rivers, etc. Yeah, actually, why doesn't that happen already? It's one of those features that kind of makes sense as soon as you say it, and it makes you realize how much of Minecraft is designed for the time, and then later they have to work out like, oh yeah, where does this feature go? And they don't necessarily do it perfectly. We also have shulker boxes with trims. Here's a fun example of it, a poorly arted example. What if you could trim your shulker boxes so as well as just having 16 colors, you have each of those 16 trims for a total of, oh, I don't even know what that is, 512? different permutations would be really cool if they all looked like this. Speaking of things that would be cool, this next idea is really, really fun to me because they actually took the idea of a better archaeology brush recipe and, they gave the idea that, well, string is already in 7 recipes, while a feather is only used to make arrows or a book and quill. Therefore, feathers could be having more uses if they put them in the archaeology brush. And you know what they did? They actually did this one. This is a suggestion from Minecraft Suggestions that has 500 upvotes, and Minecraft said, yeah, actually, that's a good idea. And again, it's such a tiny change, it's such a small one, but it makes such a big difference, just like how no updates have addressed one of Minecraft's core issues, and that is that Minecraft does not have any multi-threading. This is mostly a Java Edition issue. Minecraft is very single-thread heavy. If you're not familiar with modern-day computing, instead of running one task at a time, and no matter how fast you run it, you're going to be limited by the amount of time you have, instead they've got lots of different equally powered CPUs inside, or equally powerful computers effectively inside of your computer that can all work simultaneously to deliver one much more powerful result. But Minecraft does this so terribly, which is one of the big reasons why Minecraft kind of can run terribly on basically anything. But the answer is that, in case you're curious, right now Minecraft is multi-threaded for some things. It's just the game is, it's a very old game. It'd be very hard to port certain functions to be multi-thread. I assume so, at least. Anyway, with that said, the ancient seeds should include OG flowers like the rose and cyan flower. Yeah, wow, see, I love that idea. These are meant to be ancient flowers that the sniffer digs up, and I do like the torch flower. I don't dislike the the pitcher pod. I think they're both pretty great, but imagine if they could actually dig up ancient seeds from Minecraft's past. Maybe that's just another one that's for big Minecraft fans again. Also, phantom membranes could act as invisible dye for banners. Phantom membranes could act as a 17th dye color, invisible. Ooh, yeah. I like that as a concept, although it's kind of hard to say the difference between that and just putting the original one in there. Although I guess you could probably do something interesting. I think it's a good idea. Next up, we've got if a horse pen generates an abandoned village, it should spawn zombie horses instead of normal horses. There have been zombie horses in Minecraft for so long, and I know that they don't have to add all of these potential mobs, but it just seems like an easy way to add something that already exists, and even if it does nothing too much, it's just a fun way for it to be in the game somewhere, in my opinion. Next up, we've got glow-in-the-dark sheep. I think you should be able to dye sheep using glow ink. Oh, that's spooky, huh? Yeah, honestly, I'm on board with this one too. It's simple, but it's nice. Parrots should confuse the warden when mimicking it. Yes, drained versions of the Neverwood types. So right now there are 2 Neverwood types, Crimson Wood and Warp Wood. What if there was drained Crimson and drained Warp Wood? So drained would look like this, which you could obviously get by using a dripstone. That's a very interesting way to get it, actually, and could allow for new block palettes. I think this is a interesting enough idea, but not as interesting as an invisible lost items inventory that is used to make certain lost items show up in loot tables. What does that mean? So basically the idea is instead of having a universal ender chest, which is accessed by all players, this would be a way to easily transport items between players, but I like the concept of having an inventory linked to the world instead of specific players and using this to enhance the game. The universal inventory would not be visible or even directly accessible to players. Instead, items that despawn have a chance of getting saved in this inventory. To get these items back, players go fishing, bartering with piglins, looking in structure chests. Oh, that is clever. Yeah, so imagine you die and your items despawn in the water. They could then be added to the drop table for fishing, so while going fishing, instead of finding the 50th pair of boots or random sticks, etc., you might find someone's elytra if they died in the water with it, hypothetically. But do that on a worldwide level. If you die to piglins, then now, the next time that you're brushing some suspicious sand, you might find that item, because there's a, you could argue there's a universal inventory. I think that's fun. I think it's probably a bit too complex for Minecraft to do, but this is one of my favorite ideas, that's for sure. Next up, we've got green copper fire. In real life, copper burns with greenish tones. I think green copper fire would be a great addition. It wouldn't be that different from Soulfire, just green. And so if you want to see what it looks like, here's the crafting recipes for it, and now imagine that it burns green too. Would be real fun, right? Speaking of real fun, koi fish could spawn in the cherry blossom forest. This is the 5th best idea, by the way. So koi fish would fit the aesthetics of the cherry blossom biome perfectly. They could come in all types of colors and have a rare variant. Koi fish have a great memory and are very loyal in real life. You know, no fish are loyal. I hate to say this to you. I'm a big lover of animals. I think that they are great, and I really think it's crazy the things we do to animals in the name of, moving humans forward. Your koi fish do not care about you, and I refuse to entertain this idea as a result, because this fourth one is much better. Pigs should be able to eat anything. Something that bothered me about Minecraft's farm animals is most of them have a specific secondary purpose besides food, except for the pig. That raised the problem, why should I farm pigs when I can farm anything else instead? And so, wouldn't it be interesting if you could give them basically any food? So, wheat, carrots, potatoes, beetroot, red brown mushrooms, sweet berries, glowberries, apples, eggs, and just anything, any food that you have lying around. Instead of having to compost it, you could give it to your pig. In real life, fun fact, people use pigs as a way to dispose of bodies because they'll eat the bodies. As long as you get rid of the dental records and stuff, there'll be no proof that there was a person there. Don't ask me how I know this, please. But with that said, I think it's worth mentioning that, yeah, having a pig be just the universal way to get rid of your food would fit the it would teach you about the real world, and also would make them more useful when compared to, say, cows. Speaking of being more useful than cows, Bane of Arthropod swords can instantly break cobwebs. Ah, yeah! Swords are already the best tools for cobwebs. It makes sense that an anti-spider sword can deal with spider webs. Yes! Yes, yes, yes! Make Bane of Arthropods 0.1% more useful than it is right now, and it would feel pretty cool. No, gold trims should not pacify piglins is the second best suggestion. They're basically saying that a lot of people have been suggesting, and were suggesting, especially a year ago, that the armor trims should pacify the piglins. The armor trims should make them not like, should make them not want to behead you immediately because you're wearing gold like them. However, the point is meant to be that armor trims are cosmetic, and that's why they argue against it. But instead, we now have the best idea of 2023. Are you ready, Internet? Barrett, this is a big moment for us all. We're going to go into this together, working out the very best idea of the entire year. And indeed, given that we know Mojang clearly reads this based on the number of suggestions that have made it into the game, this is the one that they can say the most people, at least on Reddit, a small subsection of the community, do think is the best. And I'm going to do that annoying thing where I'm going to say right now, by the way, if you enjoyed this sort of video, did you know I have a Reddit? It is reddit.com/r/IBXToycat. It's a small space, but if you want a place where you can talk to other people, share your builds, etc., it's a fun little spot. If you in place of round review, or if you have something you'd like to share me for round review, it's a great place to go. But with that said, after mentioning that you can subscribe to this channel, I will go into the best idea. After a player dies multiple times in the same way, again gets added to their death message. In other words, let's say if a player dies a minimum of 5 consecutive times in the same way, the word again could be added to the end of their death message. So, for example, you could have like, oh yeah, you fell to your death. Again, you experience kinetic energy. Again, this could add some extra humor to multiplayer servers, and if it keeps happening after the threshold, it could go from again to yet again and once again. And so here's the example they give. Player, Toycat, hit the ground too hard. Again. It's funny, I don't know if this is the best idea of the year. I think it's one of the simplest that could go a long way, but ultimately that is one of the important things. I do say that as far as, as far as the best way to take Minecraft forwards, I think it is about working out for Mojang, if there are limited development resources, how to get the best bang for their buck in terms of the time they put in. If they can only add 18 features to the game right now, it's not that they could add another 50 if they just had the ideas for them. It's probably that the implementation is one of the hardest things. So I think the most important thing for Mojang is working out the easiest ways around that. Like a Bane of Arthropod swords breaking cobwebs is easy and would make a big difference. Pigs eating way more things would change their behavior and change how people interact with them without really having to do too much. I think there's a similar argument with the copper fire, and I think as a result, looking through these ideas, I think the best example of this would be just changing the brush recipe from bringing 3 string and a sticks together to being what it is right now. That was a great suggestion, one that Mojang themselves agreed with. I think with these sorts of ideas, you could make Minecraft just these little touches better. And indeed, one of the important things is much more loved by its community. Nowadays, we have a very popular trend of people wanting to hate on the game, but I want to say that one of the things I'm always trying to be on this channel is fair with Mojang, because they do have the impossible task of updating the most popular game of all time that people have a love-hate relationship with, and that is a challenge. I like what they're doing. I just think that, if they're hanging out there anyway, if they're trying to work out how to make the next update better, here are the things that it looks like they could take from the community, and I hope that they do. But what I also hope is that when that information comes out, you're subscribed to this channel so you see the latest and greatest in Minecraft news, because I've been IBX Toy Cat. I hope you have a great day, and I'll see you in the next one, okay? Bye.